order. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Collins.
Here.
Baloo.
Here.
Hines.
Here.
Snyder.
Here.
Hampstead. Garmin.
Here.
Hampstead. Here. Yeah, we're all messed up. All right. So we have two council minutes for review. The first is for the work session on 120, any amendments. Hearing none, minutes stand as approved. We also have the regular council meeting on 120, any amendments.
Mayor, why is there no notation from Public Speaks on that meeting?
Bear with me.
What do you mean? You're looking at the wrong one. January 20th, Public Speaks, Dave Showalter
Dave
spoke,
Order, yeah.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Donna Riggs
Am I not,
comment?
am I not
You may be
seeing
on the
anything?
special session, but it's.
There's two sets of,
Yeah.
there's two sets of minutes.
You're looking at today's agenda.
No, this is from January 20th.
That's probably the work
Yeah.
session. That
Work
was
session.
Remember there was two, we had a work session at
That's
6.
the agenda email.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
Any amendments to the minutes? Hearing none, minutes will stand as approved. Takes us to Public Speaks. Kathy.
Yeah, first of all, I'm gonna address the chief on this. I saw where you posted your, report for January of the, I would like some clarification for the residents because when you post, you said 200 or 400 for January, 463 calls. Security checks and, extra patrols is not a call. You're not being called out for that.
So it's considered a call for service. Like anytime our officers do anything, it's considered a call for service, whether it's a self-initiated call, they put themselves on it, or somebody calls into the department, it's still considered a call for service.
But these are routine patrol. They drive around the town. Nobody's calling them for the park to do, so to come into the park. They drive around, they do a check and that's routine patrol. That's part of their job. How can you classify that as a call? The public thinks that they're getting phone calls that they're calling in here or the,
I mean, again,
Police
they're,
department.
it's a specialized check. I mean, a patrol is driving around, you know. and
right,
that's
so
it,
when
right?
you.
So if they're
when you
going to
record
the
that,
park, they're
those are
checking the
driving
park.
around. They're not physical phone calls. They're not physical calls to come
I
there.
mean, in this line of work, it is considered a call for service. If they're self-initiated, they're going to check the park, they're checking to make sure that it's secure, there's no vandalism.
That's part of their normal routine hourly job duties.
I mean, again, it is a call, it's a call for service. I mean, I mean, we're arguing over semantics, you know?
Yeah, well, when the public concept means, do they get that many phone calls?
Well, I mean,
to
they're
go to
showing the
park?
public that they're being proactive and they're not sitting in an office for 8
Right,
hours.
but you can't classify those as calls.
They are putting themselves out there specifically to check that. That is a call for service.
Okay.
I think what we're saying is the extra patrols, right? Because what I see on your sheet, when you're calling out the patrols, you're saying the extra patrols. These aren't the patrols just patrolling through the village. These
No,
are
this is, they are
specific-
specifically going to
Yeah.
that business or that entity to check to make sure that it's secure.
So this isn't the normal patrolling through the village. Most of the time, those extra patrols are done at either the request of the business owner,
Obviously,
or
if you
based
had-
on
if you have
activity.
vandalism at the
Right,
park
yeah.
or things like that.
Well, I contacted some of these and they said that they didn't call that many times. I'm not gonna argue the point with you. It's just routine patrol that they drive around, they check on businesses. Nobody picked up the
I
phone
mean,
call.
at the end of
called
the day, they're being held accountable for
Now,
what they're doing.
I know, but you're counting, you're telling the public that you had 463 actual calls. They're
They-
not calls. They're part of their routine travel around town job.
Well, I mean,
Do this.
again, they're showing the public that they're not sitting in an office.
All right, let's go to committee reports, Henry.
I have a long list for you guys, but been obviously busy with snow removal. You guys work a lot of hours, a lot of time. I'd like to thank a couple council members, Mr. Gardner, Mr. Amstutz, for saying they could help us with patrol if we needed to. Worked out pretty good. We just worked in different shifts, so it did work out, but I appreciate you guys all for that. Coming in if we wouldn't either. That's an ongoing thing. We'd like, keep on the list just in case.
We're gonna hit the park.
We stayed away from the park entrance. We did go over by the one road where the gentleman parks behind there. We did that today, cleaned that out.
It's nice,
I was going to do the track like we usually do, but with the plows in the truck, I took it under being new. I didn't want to drive the trucks around the park on the track because the blades tear the track. We already had enough trouble with the track. So we didn't do the walking track, no, or the parking lot in this big snowstorm. We did not.
Okay, I just know people walk it, so,
Yeah.
I mean, people can't even get into the park.
So I have brought up brush for our skid steer to Kurt that we're looking at possibly getting to do the track with. It'd be a lot easier on wear and tear on our track, dropping a steel blade on it and dragging it around there. They also make salters for that on that same piece of equipment. So that's something I'm looking into to get for next year so we can do that. I just feel that we'd be doing an injustice to the track. But the parking lot, correct, we did not do the parking lot with the heavy snow. That's something we did not do. But the track we won't do until we get a brush, but I'm not gonna tear that track up any worse than what it is. We've had it repaired several years. Almost every year we have to repair it. Yes, parking lot needs to be done. You're correct. But I think overall, the village roads were in pretty good shape. Salt report, we're pretty good on salt. There is a salt shortage, not by us, but by the state. But we're in good shape right now, but we're just not gonna waste a ton of salt on certain things, so we'll use it when it needs to be used. Like we did intersections of hills there with that storm. Didn't work too well, so we decided not to do every single road. We did go out end of last week and today and salted some roads, just because the sunshine helps, even though it's only 22 degrees, but when it was like 13 below and no sun, it's just not gonna work. We did have a main break. We did have to dig around an 8-inch gas line and a non-service 6-inch line. A valve that was not active, we repaired it, recharged the line, then found out that the old valve was leaking. So we ended up just taking the clamp off, cutting out about 5-6 feet of it and putting new in it. That's why that water break took so long too. But I also want to thank the residents with the snow, with the water break. There's a lot of things that have been going on here the last couple of weeks. So,
Sounds like we might have more coming.
yeah, Friday, there's another, I saw 1.5 inches, 2 inches. David told me before the meeting, it's up to 4 now.
I said 4 to 6, I think.
Yeah. So,
I can't wait.
and that was a big thing too. When we were plowing, we made sure to go out even when it was a snow and try to plow them sides back with the drifts and try to keep the roads as wide as possible, because when the next storm comes, it's just going to keep building up on the side of the road. So we try to keep that as wide as we could. That's
Is that the parking complaints were then, was people that didn't move from the storm?
We actually only had.
Yeah, there's only a couple that went real well.
of them.
Really?
So we only ended up towing, I think, one vehicle. Yeah, everybody else was able to get their stuff moved.
Yeah, that went really well, I think.
Really?
Yeah, that went really well. And we did have some communication issues at the tower to the pump house. We had to monitor that overnight for one night until the gentleman come down to repair it. Most of the stuff's been replaced. We're going to get some quotes on some other pieces that are relatively old in there and get them updated. So we try not to have that issue in the future. So there's been a lot of stuff like that going on lately. But good point, Mr. Garn. We'll make sure we take care of that parking lot. But again, I just don't feel like doing the track and tearing that track up
Do we
anymore.
just salt it or something? 'Cause people do walk.
They do, but
I mean,
I can't salt 8 inches of snow. It's not going to
no,
work.
I'm not saying that, but I mean, even if you don't go all the way down. 'Cause, I mean, I walked on it a few weeks ago about killing myself.
Yeah, we probably couldn't even hardly walk. It was so deep, I'm sure.
No, I mean, it was even before this big. But
But yeah, that is definitely a point of emphasis for next year to try to get that brush for the front of the skid steer to do that, to make it easier on the track. So we're not tearing that up and going off the side of the track because the trucks are so wide, getting in the grass, all that stuff. So that's definitely a point of emphasis for next snow season, get that done. for the walking track. Any other questions?
Henry, maybe make note that we had talked about some of the businesses in town not shoveling their sidewalks. That's going to be a
Correct.
here.
There's one downtown, we're gonna call and try to get a hold of a gentleman to get him to clean up, and he'll get dates put on there, and if he don't reply by the dates, we'll get it done for him, we'll charge him.
Yeah, and then moving forward, once that's been sent out for the remainder of the season, if it's not done, we're just going to do it in charge.
Correct.
Just like we do with the yards.
Downtown.
And for the most part, the residents did pretty good with their removal, and they're not blowing out in the road and taking up too much room. I know it was a pain in the butt, it was a pain in the butt for us.
Yeah, yeah.
There's nowhere to put it, man. It is what it is. But overall, I think we made it through that big storm pretty well as a community. So,
These super low temperatures, are they giving you any grief with the water lines at all?
well, we had that one, and
That'll be when it warms up a little.
the water, we do have a relatively high water usage for the last 2 days. I'm thinking that could be because of the communication or because of the ice in the tower.
Mm.
Without going too in depth with that, but we're gonna monitor that for the next couple of days. Make sure we're not missing something, but
How do they keep the
Nothing's
tower
happening.
from freezing? Does it just keep circulating or is there?
circulation's the only thing
actually-
that'll keep it from freezing.
Okay,
I'm sure there's a layer of ice up there, I'm sure.
okay.
Few ice cubes floating.
No doubt. Yeah, when we were in there monitoring that gauge for that communication problem, you can, when you're sitting there watching that gauge, you could hear it sound like somebody's falling down the ladder. Yeah, so just make it through this season, man.
We dug our fire hydrant out after it was plowed under by a plow truck.
Yeah, we should, I need to make that a point to go around and shovel all the hydrants out. There's some hydrants that were buried. It was just so hard to keep up with everything, so.
It wasn't a problem. I was just teasing
No,
Mike.
there's a couple, I mean, that's a good point. I mean, we gotta get the hydrants undone, so.
You know, in the fall, probably won't be a bad idea to put out those sticks people put in their driveway so they know where the edges are for the plow guys.
Yeah,
Stick them at the freaking hydrant seat. I mean,
well, we had a problem with like at Burger Circle, right across from where you live. Like, there's nowhere to push that snow back there, and it's tight, real tight in the yards. And I know some of the residents back there are like, well, don't push it all in my yard, but there's only certain spots to push it. I mean, it's tough, but it does affect the hydrants. Good
you can
point.
push it in my yard.
Just like Bill talking about the
Stick it in your
track. I mean, those are points of emphasis that we'll take care of that stuff. Anything else you guys notice, let me know for sure. We'll take care of it. All right, thanks again, guys.
Takes us to safety chief.
Don't have too much. You guys saw the spreadsheet, 238 calls for service. Because of our previous discussion a few minutes ago, I guess I will go into a little more detail on the calls for service for you guys. So anytime we have an extra patrol, it is logged. It is something that we don't do regularly. It's not something that's required. So my officers are required, I'll say, we want you to go by this business X amount of times or go by the park X amount of times during your patrol. Anything over that, they're going to log it as an extra patrol. It gives them some accountability so that we can see that they're not sitting in an office all night long. And it also allows us, if something were to happen, such as vandalism at the park, to have a time frame as to when it possibly could have occurred. So business checks, things like that, my third shift officers, they could just drive by the business, but when they log it as an extra patrol or a business check, they're getting out, they're checking the doors, they're making sure that they're secure. So there's a lot more that goes into it. This is all up and above just a regular patrol that my officers are doing. So you have any questions about any of that? Need any more clarification?
I would just add, when she was saying that, I was pulling up to see if there's a definition, and the Supreme Court of Ohio has called it a call to duty involves any situation in which a response by a police officer is required. And then, as you know, Lexi Poll defines it as basically anything that involves a response by law enforcement.
Correct.
Then there's priority calls and emergency calls, but it's not
Yep.
like, I think it's a term of art within law enforcement.
Sure.
To say call for service, but I understand her point.
But
Absolutely.
I think they're calling it, when they come around Hope Senior Village 11 times, but there was only.
So to give you an example, right, at Hope Village, the plows had plowed in an older gentleman who was unable to give his car out. So one of my officers stopped. They logged it as an extra patrol because there's really not something that they could put under, and they helped him shovel his car out. Again, they are required to go through there. I'm not going to say
I
the
mean, we
number
love
in
when they
public,
come
right?
forward.
I'm not going to say the number in public because I don't, but they are required to go through there a certain amount of times, per day. And if they exceed that number, then they're going to log it as an extra patrol. So it's even though it's self-initiated, it's still a call for service. It's no different than if my officer observed a traffic offense or my officer observed a robbery in progress. They're doing something above. They have to log it, and it's giving some accountability to that officer and for the administration to be able to see what they're doing. So
It's also important for federal reporting that we have to do for certain things. as
Correct.
well. It's something that's been lacking in previous years. I'm not going to get into too much detail on that, but whenever you want to apply for grants, whenever you want to, to get any kind of federal funding, you have to show that your officers are active and beyond just patrolling through a village. Because,
correct.
so I think that's where the maybe the misunderstanding is coming.
Well, for us, our officers and know what, I guess outside looking in, it's more of an activity report. This is what our guys are doing.
Sure.
Because if you don't know, you think calls when somebody picks up a phone and calls the PD.
For
and
for a
asks
regular layman,
Sure.
that's the assumption they make if
Right.
somebody made a phone call.
Sure. No, anytime technically in our field, and how we have to categorize things through dispatch, it's any time that we have any activity, whether it's a call from an individual or it's self-initiated field activity.
I guess to me, a call for service would be through dispatch.
Well, all of it is. That's how this is all logged. So everything that we have,
So
those
that
printouts
goes
that you
through
get, all of it is through dispatch. We actually get those logs from our computer-aided dispatch system.
So an extra patrol goes through dispatch?
Yes.
They're calling it in. So they have to, yeah.
Did you get any or a lot of calls about welfare calls through the cold or
Um,
needing help besides that gentleman down at Hope Village?
I
or-
believe the only welfare, we've had 2 welfare checks, I believe, during the cold snap. I think that was all that we had, off the top of my head. I believe that's all that we had.
Nobody called and said, we're stuck. we
No,
can't
I
get
didn't
out."
have anything like that, so.
That's good.
I think putting the warnings or reminders, whatever you call it, help get cars off the road.
I think so too.
There's a lot of people that don't social media.
Sure.
So,
Yep.
If you don't do that, or if you don't just regularly check the village's website, you wouldn't have known there was a.
Yep, and I actually had that same feedback from a couple residents, so I think that actually worked. And, like I said, this is more of just an educational type of thing. We're not out there trying to tow people's cars or anything like that. So, we want to try to make it, the last thing that we want to do is the last resort is tow their vehicles, so.
Well, this snow is a little different. Like the one before that, there was a snow ban, but most cars didn't move because they didn't, like you say, if you're not on social media or checking the village's website,
Sure.
you're not going to see it. So they just plowed around a bunch of cars.
So.
This time, they needed to.
Yeah, there's just no option. And I think it's also conditioning for the residents too, right? So, for years past, we weren't using the snow ban. And then we started reintroducing it 2 years ago. And now it's getting to the point where eventually it should be second nature. If they look at the weather report, it's supposed to get 3 inches of snow. I better move my car. And that's my hope, is that we don't have to continuously tell people over and over. Because to the chief's point, we don't want to tow anyone's car. We don't want to cause people heartburn over things.
Well, there may be some people that have absolutely nowhere else to go.
Yeah.
Sure.
In other communities, I've seen they have just small signs up, saying when the conditions are for parking bans. So maybe something like that would be good for those who don't go to social media and all that.
Yeah.
Especially in a mission critical area.
Well, it just tells you what the criteria is for a snow ban. Well, we're getting that much, it better move.
Yeah.
It was too cold and nobody went anywhere. That's a good thing too.
Yeah.
So in addition to that, I sent each of you an email with a packet in it with some software that I'd like for you guys to consider for the department. Right now, we have GPS software that we use to track the cruiser. It's very basic. It just tracks the cruiser, and that's pretty much about it. I can see where it's been, its speed. If you've looked at the emails, you can see there's a lot more to this. It's going to give me as a supervisor a lot more accountability, and it's going to allow us to kind of direct what we're doing a little more specifically based off of the calls that we're having. And it's going to make sure that we're getting good coverage to all of the village. So if you guys could review that, and like I said, I'd like to consider funding that software. And then If you have any questions, obviously get a hold of me. We can talk about that. But that's pretty much all I have for tonight.
So that software would take the place of the current tracking software, so.
We pay a yearly for the current.
Yeah.
Yes.
I remember
It is-
there you
it
said
is
it would be above
more.
and beyond.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep, it is more, and it does a lot more than we currently have. So it works with our CAD system, our dispatch system. So it not only will it do things like route us to calls based off of like actual traffic, like, with sometimes of the day there's a lot more traffic down here, so it'll actually route that, but it'll also link with our CAD. It'll show us calls for service that we had at that address, involved parties, things like that. So all of it kind of bridges the gap between just having the GPS and then our CAD
You
system.
can get a
It kind
little bit
bridges
of
the gap.
history on a particular. place.
Exactly, without having to work 3 or 4 different systems trying to get in and get out and figure out what's going on. It just gives it to us automatically when that call comes out. So it's pretty good software. The company that it actually is coming from, they're the same company that I believe Osnaburg uses. Most of the school districts around here use it for their bus routes, to pre-plan the bus routes for picking up kids. So this company's been around, and they know this type of stuff. So, and that's pretty much all I have.
The current is on a month to month or a year?
It's a year to year.
Yeah, it's coming up now, I think. So. Yeah.
Usually it's in the summertime.
I thought we did it in February last year.
Can't answer that. I can tell you real quick.
I think I had an email that it was actually March, I think,
Yeah.
the middle of March. So, anything else? All right, thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Can I back up one thing for Henry? How is it plowing over those speed tables?
It's not bad.
No?
Not bad. We just go slow over. We never go over 15 to maybe 20 mile an hour fastest. We usually keep between 10 and 15. 10 and 15, yeah.
You'll need a new truck.
Yeah. But it isn't too bad.
Anything else for safety? We probably will need a resolution accepting the resignation of Officer Scott Pringle, full-time Officer Scott Pringle. He had put in his resignation effective, Chief, what's the effective date? It was last week.
Yeah, it was, I believe it was Wednesday. I'm not 100%. I'll have to go back and look.
Yeah. Yeah. Looks like, yeah, Wednesday the 28th, I believe is so just for records purposes, if council could, just a resolution to accept that resignation.
So,
Collins.
Second.
Second.
Missed Paul.
Alright. Roll call, Collins.
Yeah.
Baloo.
Yeah.
Klein.
Yes.
Schneider.
Yeah.
Garmin.
Yeah.
Hanson. Yeah. Thank you. Sure. Leads us into judicial.
Okay, for judicial tonight is Resolution R 2026-01. A resolution by the Village of East Canton appointing Richard Johnson as a full-time police officer with the Village of East Canton Police Department. The East Canton Village Council, Stark County, Ohio, met in regular session on the second day of February 2026 with a quorum of members present. Whereas Richard Johnson is currently appointed as part-time police officer with the East Canton Police Department, and whereas the East Canton Police Chief and East Canton Mayor recommend the promotion and appointment of Richard Johnson as a full-time officer with the Village of East Canton Police Department. And be it now therefore resolved that the East Canton Village Council, Stark County, Ohio, does hereby authorize and approve the appointment of Richard Johnson as a full-time officer of the Village of East Canton Police Department, effective February 8th, 2026, at an hourly pay rate of $22 per hour. And with all the benefits and full-time police department employee as set forth in the East Canton Village Employees Handbook and East Canton Police Department policies and procedures. The promotion shall be on a 1-year probationary period, and the council does hereby further authorize the East Canton Village Fiscal Officer to do all things necessary to accomplish the purpose and intent of this resolution. So moved.
Second.
Roll. Collins.
Yeah.
Blue.
Yeah.
Hines.
Yay.
Schneider.
Yeah.
Garmin.
Yeah.
Anderson. Yeah.
You want that done real quick? It's just a resolution, so
Yeah.
you're good.
Oh, my bad. I thought it had to go in the ordinance.
Just the hiring. Motions can be a resolution.
Okay. Is there a part-time, Chris?
Yeah, Officer Johnson does a good job for us. He tries, he cares.
Yep.
So I think it was a good choice by the chief to promote him. So I support that.
He'll be taking Pringles midnights.
Richard works midnights right now, so Scott was working afternoons, so I had double coverage. So we got another officer in training that's gonna replace that shift.
All right, anything else for judicial?
Nope.
Anything for grants?
I sent out a copy of the letters that we got from the health department commissioners. I sent them to those of us on the grant committee. They were very comprehensive, and it looked like a piece of artwork because they just did a wonderful job. On the 10th of February, Ms. Riggs and I are going to talk with the Stark County commissioners, and if we missed the opportunity to meet them in an open meeting because of the weather we was having. So we're just going to go there, and if they'll see us, we'll speak with them. If not, we'll leave them a package that pretty much lays out what we're going to do and what they need to do to support us. Ms. Riggs also suggested that it may be a little easier to get funding from the Ohio Public Works Commission. So when we address the commissioners, I'm going to add an additional letter to their packet. It reads, Dear Commissioners, the congressionally directed spending grant that the Village of East Canton is currently applying for is known for being very complex and involved. It is known for being a very complex and involved process, as is anything involved with the FDA. I'm curious to know if the Ohio Public Works Commission would be a better agency to help fund our water line project. If you have any wisdom to share on the matter, please contact me for specific technical data of the current status of East Canton's water line infrastructure. You may contact our village administrator, Henry Boyle, and I gave him your phone number. For grant-specific inquiries, contact our grant writer, Donna Riggs. And I gave him their number there. So I'll be adding this letter to all three of the commissioners' packets. We've already got the letters from the Stark County Health Commissioners. We're working on the county commissioners. I'm going to try to get the township fire chief and what else was that? Matthew Kishman. I'm going to try for that. If any of you see anybody on the list that you want to try to get some support off of, you've already got the water line packets with the formatted letters. That's what they need to look like, just with their office letterhead and whatever they choose to say in the body of the letter. And I think that's it for grants for tonight.
I might be able to help you with the chief,
Pardon me?
the fire chief. I might be able to help with that.
Okay.
We appreciate your efforts following this up.
Thank you very much. And everybody sitting at the table here, if you would write a letter to Representative Ruley's office and Senator Marino and Houston's office, we could add that to the pack and add even more weight to it. So just putting that out there.
All right, anything else for grants?
Nope.
Takes us to finance.
Make a motion to approve invoices in the amount of $7,046.48 as presented by fiscal officer Geis.
Second.
Roll call, Collins.
Yeah.
Blue,
Yeah.
Hines,
Yay.
Snyder,
Yeah.
Garmin.
Yeah.
Anderson.
Make a motion to approve payroll from 1/11/25 to 1/24/26.
Should read them.
Yeah, 1/11/26, it should say. The payroll in the amount of $26,126.66 as presented by fiscal officer Geis.
Second.
Roll call, Collins.
Yeah.
Blue,
Yeah.
Hines,
Yay.
Snyder,
Yeah.
Garmin.
Yeah.
Anderson. Yeah.
Saving a lot of money for a whole year.
That's what I'm trying to.
Right. In the meeting packet, the permanent appropriations report is also in there for council members to review. Anything else for finance? Thanks, sir. Takes us to other. I today recently sent out the mayor's court report for January. Total collected for the month, $5,161, which breaks down as follows: $1,770 in fines, $2,352 in local costs, and $1,039 in state costs. Any questions on the mayor's court report? Appreciate the activity of the PD, keeping the traffic laws in force. It was a busy month for the mayor's court, so it's good. One other topic for for Solicitor Babbitt, if you could look into what options we have to limit the number of parked vehicles on unlicensed parked vehicles on commercial properties. We had a couple businesses in the village that we've had some difficulties with,
Okay.
and almost turning their businesses into salvage yards. So we've tried sending letters and doing some things, but I would like to see legally what options we have as a municipality to restrict that.
Are they inoperable or junk motor vehicles?
I think some of them are repossessed vehicles. Some of them, they're turning it almost like into a repo card. If that
Okay.
makes sense. And then I think some of them are actually vehicles that maybe people are having restoration work done on, but they're not moving. So either the people are leaving the vehicles and not coming to get them,
Okay.
or the business owner is just taking a very long time to get the work done. Either way, I think we need to come up with some way to further enforce some of our.
Yeah.
Does that include the private properties too, or just business?
It would probably have to be all inclusive, right? But I believe that it's listed back to
Yeah.
us,
Well,
but.
there's already rules about that for private property.
Mhm.
But they have not been enforced for years and years and years, because I lived by one.
But they're
Well, we
not,
have a new
I don't think
zoning
they don't
inspector
ever
now,
move
so.
on the
I
private
hope-
property.
but are they
Hope so.
junk or inoperable or salvage, or are they just?
Depends on when you ask them, because if you ask, and we
They're
have
wonderful.
asked, they're great. They're cars that I got to work on for customers. You know what I mean?
Don't they have to be licensed? Don't they have to have a sticker?
A lot of businesses.
Yeah, not necessarily if they're not being operated. But what I'll look at is, I know there's laws on the books for junk, salvage, inoperable motor vehicles. You could even take it from a nuisance standpoint. But I'll look and see with regard to other vehicles, and then also look at the zoning ordinance sometimes governs that, and I've enforced that on behalf of another village where gentlemen had, it looked like a used car lot going on, and
Yeah.
The one she's talking about, the Camaro sat in that driveway so long, it's embedded into the ground. There's 9 cars at that residence.
That's a landmark now.
2 are drivable.
okay,
They're not even inoperable. They're completely,
but returning to the earth.
they are. They absolutely are.
And
No,
it
it's
looks terrible. It's right on the corner.
But do they have up-to-date tags? Is the
I was gonna say.
Well, that's one thing you have to check, because that's what he did last time he was caught on it.
And it's a common problem across Stark County, in townships, villages. I'll look into it, I'll get an answer to you.
Appreciate it. Anything else for other?
Do we want to address the software for the chief tonight or at a later time?
I read the email and it looked like it's a pretty good deal. I mean, yeah, it's gonna cost a little bit more, so the only question for me is, do we got the funds available for it?
Yeah, Chief, the total cost for that system, we had talked, I think you said it was right around 5,000 US.
Just over 5,000, I
Yeah,
believe, yep.
and the current system is what, Kirby looked at, like 1,500, 1,600?
1,500 a year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we have a quote on it or anything? I wasn't.
Yeah, he does.
Email, so I don't know
Okay,
when
let me
to find it.
forward it to you, but yeah, there was an official package, I believe that was in there.
And how much is it a month?
I just don't want
Or
to miss
there's
your
a monthly
deadline if
cost
you're
too?
gonna
No, I think it's just a year.
hurry up and have to pay cancellation fees or whatever, or lose it, or.
Might be even good to try just for a year, make sure it's gonna work good, is if it doesn't work out right, we can always go back to the old system.
Is there any new software or anything else we have to buy do we have everything?
Yes, that's all included in that price. That's the units for the vehicles and the software, and them actually doing the integration.
That's gonna be on all 4 vehicles?
Yes, there's 4 vehicles that we've allotted for, and then I believe it was 14 licenses. So each officer will have their own license.
So currently, we're on the service department too. Is that, you just said you had 4 vehicles, so that don't include.
That
the
does
service
not include the
department.
service department.
So if that's something that council wants to keep, then you're gonna have to pay for the separate service department and that, correct?
You probably ought to look into it about doing it across all the vehicles if you're gonna do
Yeah.
it.
Not agreed.
There's no point in paying for 2 different systems.
Well, do you think Henry would use all the extra stuff?
What's that?
Would you use all the
I
extra
wouldn't
features?
use all the rest.
You know what I mean?
No.
'Cause he's looking at all the extra to be able to.
But, I mean, to add 3 vehicles, can't be much more, right, chief?
I wouldn't think so.
We have the 2 F-350s and Mark's park truck.
Because
We do have water trucks,
I mean,
which is technically 4.
So I can check with them, because they may have like a less expensive option. Like I said, they do the routing for the school buses. For us, the software, there's a lot more to the software package that we use for law enforcement. And it integrates with our dispatch, our CAD system.
Hold on.
I would just use it in case of stolen vehicles or
Yeah.
abuse.
Sure.
Abuse, you
As
know.
long as
Yep,
we're.
That's the only thing I would use it for.
Our time period, he's not gonna.
Well, like I said, the only
So we can
question
check
I would
on
have
that.
would be if we have the funds.
Can we check on that
available,
to
so.
see if we can add 3 vehicles?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll see if they have like
Because it might just be
something
a little add-on.
different.
It might be
'cause-
4 to 8 vehicles
Yeah.
or something like
For
that.
sure.
Because this stuff is all like, so the money that we're paying extra for this is all for like, it's directed towards law enforcement stuff, like our
And it might be
dispatchers.
like
So they may
10
have like,
vehicles
a yeah,
under or
less
something.
expensive option
Right.
that we may be able to.
Figure it with 4.
Okay.
For the service department.
Yeah, I'll talk to him tomorrow.
I just don't hastily make something, we'll make sure we have that.
So March, you said.
Anything else for other? Motion adjourned.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Colin.
Yeah.
Blue,
Yeah.
Hines.
Yay.
Schneider.
Yeah.
Carmen.
Yeah.
And Six.